So just a couple more questions. Our time is short here. To each of you, how would you like to see the theories of disruptive innovation influence the world more broadly in the next 5, 10 years with the help of the Institute and in your own personal companies? Scott?
I think there's a search, well, actually the background on this is the Harvard Business School, a common thread between the three of us, has a new dean. As he started, he traveled around the world to meet with alumni of the school all around the world. And he came back from that. At his last stop before returning to Boston was here in the Bay Area. And a group of us had dinner with him. And he said he's struck by one uncanny thing he observed in every country, no matter what the state of its economy. The number one concern of those alums who were in government or in business was jobs, creating jobs. This issue of what creates wealth and poverty and what can a society do or a country to promote job creation, income growth, wealth growth is, I think, maybe the seminal issue of our time. And I would dream, maybe, that the concepts here, as they've so explained competition and other things between companies and what creates growth inside companies and industries, might be able to use to explain what creates growth for countries and economies and regions.
Yeah, you know, I think we're in ultra exciting times, probably the most exciting times, frankly, in the last 1,000 years, and that's a big statement, because frankly, you know, I mean, we've been talking a lot about education. I do think we are at an inflection point. I mean, I tell our team, this isn't a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This is a once-in-a-millennium opportunity that's happening right now. And I think you're going to see it in a bunch of different sectors that people thought were stagnating, people thought were getting out of control or not really going anywhere. Healthcare seems like the most, I mean, my wife's a physician and I see it, you know, I hear her, I mean, it seems the most broken out of all of these, but I think when something becomes broken and quite expensive, that's the time that it gets ripest for this type of thing. You know, actually hearing Clay talk about Congress, you know, makes me think actually that there are governance structures that could be new. I mean, this idea, the only reason why we have our current representational structure is, well, how do we choose, you know, we represent by geography, that was our interests. That's the only, there was no telephone when these things were first invented. And so that's why we have a representational structures, but that's actually not how society actually works today. I can find a kindred spirit on the other side of the planet or on the other side of the country that we have more in common with than maybe my neighbor. And so I actually think, I don't know if this will happen in the next 10 years, but I think there could be interesting things there. I think we're seeing crazy things with I mean, you know, Elon Musk, I think, is personally doing it in 2 industries at once, in the automotive industry, and I mean, once again, electric cars, but making it better than what was out there. Replacing NASA on some level at 1/10 the cost. I mean, these are big things, talking about going to Mars, and you know, this is something that NASA didn't even have on its roadmap. So I don't know what it's going to be, but I think in the next 50 years, we're going to see some things that you could write science fiction books about right now.
Well, Jane, I think what I worry the most about is that we, at the Institute, get too full of ourselves. You know, and I really do think we've brought to K through 12 education, higher education, healthcare, a disciplined, theory-based, 360-degree assessment of what really are what's causing things to happen the way they do. And what I worry about is that if we got so full of ourselves that we forget our roots and start to publish stuff that is just our opinion, you know, and we cannot do that. And not all of the theories to solve these problems are at hand. So the theories that we have are very useful, but we know that there are really important ones still to be developed. And just as an example, and I resonate with what Scott said, so historically, The cause of macroeconomic prosperity was disruption. So how did Japan transform itself from being just a wasted nation in the 1950s into a very sophisticated nation by 1990? They disrupted America. They truly disrupted America. They came in with Coronas and Cubs, and you know what I'm talking about. And then they hit the high end of the market, and Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore disrupted Japan. Started with simple things. Now they're perilously close to the top, and here comes China and India that are disrupting Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore, and then Vietnam already, you can feel it at the low end, disrupting China. So the big question is, why do these waves of disruption that bring prosperity all come from Asia? Why haven't the Mexicans disrupted America? Nor has Latin America in any way disrupted us. Why has Africa not disrupted Western Europe? And I think that if we can understand, we don't have a theory to explain this yet, but if we do, then I think what it'll show is that the World Bank and all kinds of aid thrown in there are trying to solve the wrong problems. So there are a lot of interesting things to do, but I hope we can keep our discipline, our intellectual discipline, to take some of these things on.